Hello, and thank you for tuning into the Veterans Aide. In today's video, we will be discussing the intent to file. Specifically, we will identify what is an intent to file, why you may need one, what you need to do to get one, what it does for you, and how long it lasts. Here's a general overview of the topics we'll discuss so you can follow along. First, what is an intent to file? As the name suggests, an intent to file, or ITF for short, is a notification to the VA, putting them on notice that you intend to make a claim for compensation or pension. What is it for? Why might you need one? The reason a veteran may need an intent to file is because they anticipate filing a claim in the near future, but they are not quite ready to do so right now. Maybe they need to wait to get a copy of their C file from the VA. Maybe they're waiting to get their own private medical evidence. Maybe you need to track down a few of your old buddies to get some lay statements. Maybe you need to do some more research into the regulations to see which benefits that you think you are entitled to. Regardless of the reason, it is for when you know you are going to file, or at least think you are, but the evidence is not where it needs to be in order to file a claim. So what do you have to do to get one? To get an intent to file, you can complete the VA Form 21-0966 and submit it to the VA to notify them of your intent to file a claim for compensation or for pension. You must specify which. Alternatively, rather than filling out the form and sending it to the VA, you can complete the process online on the VA's website. You can call the VA's National Call Center at 800-827-1000. You can contact the Veterans Service Center or the Pension Management Center, and you can do that either by phone or in person. And the last way, and I would argue that this is the easiest way to do it, is simply to start a claim online. When you start a claim, as in begin the process of filing a claim and save it, the VA automatically creates an intent to file for you once you save that application. And this goes for compensation or pension as applicable. The VA will then send you a letter in the mail to let you know that they have received your intent to file. So keep an eye out for that. Probably wondering, how does that help you? The main benefit of an intent to file is simple. It preserves an earlier effective date that is earlier than the date that the VA actually receives your fully completed claim. With an earlier effective date, you may be entitled to more retroactive benefits. Also, if your effective date is earlier, that means the clock gets started sooner for having your condition reaching any of the various protected statuses. But protected status is a topic for another video, however. So I'm sure you understand all of those things, but how long does it last? It helps you get an earlier effective date. How early? Up to 1 year earlier than when you submit your claim. So what does that mean exactly? In other words, you have 1 year from the date that the VA receives your intent to file to submit your completed claim. So that gives you 1 year to develop your evidence, figure out which conditions you want to claim, and then file that claim. The key part is that it only lasts for 1 year. If you do not file a complete claim within 1 year of the ITF, you lose that ITF date. It automatically expires, so you lose that earlier effective date. Do not let that happen to you. Another important caveat, however, once you file a claim after you've submitted your intent to file, that intent to file goes away. So, if you have an intent to file for compensation that you filed on January 1st, 2025, and then you file a completed claim for compensation on July 1st, 2025, that January 1st intent to file is consumed. On the bright side, if your claim is granted, your effective date should go back to the date of the intent to file. On the other hand, if you filed a second claim on July 2nd and that was also granted, that effective date would be no earlier than July 2nd. So keep this in mind when using the intent to file. Since you can file for as many conditions as you want at one time, it is worth considering waiting to tack on additional condition rather than losing several months of potential retroactive benefits. On a side note, if you filed on July 1st and then remembered that you had another condition that you wanted to file for, you could file for that also on July 1st, and both claims will be covered by your intent to file. The intent to file applies for all claims received on the same day if they are for the same type, as in compensation or pension, that the intent to file was submitted for. So, which benefit or claim types do not apply when it comes to an intent to file? The intent to file does not apply to the following benefits or types of claims: requests for dependency, ancillary benefits, requests for higher level review, duplicate claims, and requests for review based on clear and unmistakable error. One last thing. What about withdrawn claims? Let's say you were to withdraw that July 1st claim that we talked about earlier. Does that somehow reactivate your intent to file? Can you use it again? Nope. Once it is used, it is forever associated with the claim that redeemed it. So, no takebacks. Be sure, once you are ready to use it, that you are sure that you want to use the intent to file on whatever you claim you're about to file. This is my very first video. I decided to do this one in slideshow format. Hopefully it's informative, and thank you for watching. Thank you for taking time out of your day and making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed this content, please leave us a like, drop a comment with questions, or just to say hi. Share it with someone who may need to see it, and subscribe for future videos. Thanks again, and until next time, this has been the Veteran's Aide.